There's this moment that happens right before everything clicks into place. You know the one I'm talking about. When you're standing at the edge of something massive and you can feel it in your bones, but you can't quite name it yet. Your skin feels electric. Your intuition is screaming at you that change is coming, but your logical mind keeps trying to talk you out of it because it doesn't make sense on paper. But here's what nobody tells you about those moments. The universe doesn't whisper when it's time for your breakthrough. It doesn't send you a polite invitation or wait for you to feel ready. It shows up loud and messy and completely undeniable. And most people miss it because they're looking for something that looks like progress instead of something that looks like chaos. See, we've been conditioned to believe that breakthroughs announce themselves with fanfare, that they come with clear instructions and a roadmap, and maybe a motivational soundtrack playing in the background. But that's not how this works. Real breakthroughs disguise themselves as disruption. They show up as everything falling apart at once, as relationships ending, as jobs that no longer fit, as dreams that suddenly feel too small for who you're becoming. And right now, if you're watching this, chances are you're living in that space, that strange, uncomfortable middle ground where nothing feels stable anymore, but nothing new has emerged yet. You're probably questioning everything, your choices, your direction, maybe even your sanity. You might be wondering if you're losing your mind or if you're finally finding it. Let me tell you something that might sound crazy, but stick with me. What you're experiencing isn't a breakdown. It's a breakthrough in motion. And the universe has been dropping hints about this moment for longer than you realize. Not through mystical signs or cosmic coincidences, though those happen too, but through patterns. Through the way your body has been responding to situations that used to feel normal. Through the way conversations that once energized you now leave you feeling drained. Through the way you've been craving solitude when you used to fear being alone. Your breakthrough doesn't start when everything finally makes sense. It starts when you stop trying to make everything make sense and instead learn to trust what you're feeling, even when you can't explain it, especially when you can't explain it. I've been studying this phenomenon for years now, not in books or research papers, but in real time, watching people navigate these pivotal moments in their lives. And what I've discovered is that the universe operates on a frequency that most of us aren't tuned into because we're too busy listening to the noise, the shoulds, the expectations, the voices telling us to be practical, to play it safe, to stop being so dramatic about everything. But your breakthrough requires you to get dramatic about everything. It requires you to pay attention to the subtle shifts that everyone else dismisses as coincidence. The way certain people keep showing up in your life with exactly the message you need to hear. The way books fall open to pages that speak directly to your situation. The way conversations happen that unlock doors you didn't even know existed. This isn't magical thinking. This is what happens when you start operating at the frequency of possibility instead of the frequency of survival. When you stop asking, what if this doesn't work? And start asking, what if this is exactly what's supposed to happen? Your breakthrough has been trying to get your attention through your discomfort, through that restless energy that won't let you settle into old patterns anymore, through the way your soul rebels against anything that feels too small, or too safe, or too predictable, through the way you've been outgrowing spaces you once fought to belong to. The universe shows you your breakthrough through contrast. It lets you feel the weight of staying the same until staying the same becomes more painful than the uncertainty of change. It shows you relationships that no longer align so you can recognize what alignment actually feels like. It shows you work that drains your spirit so you can identify what energizes it. And right now, in this moment, if you're feeling like everything is shifting beneath your feet, if you're feeling like you're being called towards something you can't quite see yet, if you're feeling like the old version of you is dying while the new one hasn't fully emerged, congratulations. You're not losing your mind. You're finding your path. But here's where it gets interesting. The universe doesn't just show you that change is coming. It shows you exactly what you need to release, to make space for what wants to emerge. It highlights every pattern, every belief, every relationship, every habit that's been keeping you stuck in a version of yourself you've outgrown. This is where most people get scared and turn back, because releasing what's familiar, even when it's not serving you, feels like stepping into an abyss. Your ego starts panicking because its job is to keep you safe. And safe means predictable. And breakthrough is anything but predictable. Your breakthrough is asking you to trust a process you can't control, to surrender to a timeline that doesn't match your plans, to believe in an outcome you can't fully visualize yet. And that's terrifying if you're used to having all the answers before you take the first step. But what if I told you that the very discomfort you're feeling right now is proof that you're exactly where you need to be? That the confusion isn't a sign you're on the wrong path, but confirmation that you're finally on the right one. That everything that feels like it's falling apart is actually falling into place. The universe is showing you your breakthrough through the breakdown of everything that was never meant to last forever. Anyway, the thing about being on the verge of breakthrough is that everything starts moving faster. Not in a frantic way, but in an inevitable way, like dominoes falling in perfect sequence. Conversations happen that shift your entire perspective in minutes. Opportunities appear that feel tailor-made for the person you're becoming, not the person you've been. People exit your life with such precise timing that you can't help but notice the space they leave behind was exactly the space you needed. And you start recognizing the signs. The way your body relaxes when you make decisions that align with who you're becoming. The way doors open effortlessly when you stop trying to force your way through the wrong ones. The way solutions present themselves the moment you stop desperately searching for them and instead create space for them to find you. But here's what nobody warns you about. Your breakthrough doesn't just change your circumstances. It changes your relationship with uncertainty itself. Where you once needed guarantees before you could move forward, you now find yourself stepping into situations with nothing but intuition as your guide. Where you once required approval from others to validate your choices, you now trust your inner knowing even when it contradicts popular opinion. This shift in how you navigate life is subtle at first. You might not even notice it happening. But then one day you realize you've been making decisions differently. You've been choosing based on how something feels rather than how it looks. You've been prioritizing your inner peace over external validation. You've been saying no to things that used to feel mandatory and yes to things that once felt impossible. The universe shows you this transformation through your responses to familiar triggers. Situations that used to send you spiraling now barely register as blips on your emotional radar. People who used to drain your energy simply bounce off the boundaries you've learned to set without guilt. Problems that used to consume your thoughts resolve themselves with a clarity that surprises even you. You start operating from a place of trust instead of fear. Not blind trust, but earned trust. Trust built through witnessing your own capacity to handle whatever life presents. Trust developed through surviving every single thing that felt like it might break you, but didn't. Trust cultivated through recognizing that every ending was actually a beginning in disguise. And as this trust deepens, something remarkable happens. You stop trying to control outcomes and start focusing on your responses. You stop trying to manipulate circumstances and start aligning with what wants to emerge naturally. You stop forcing doors open and start noticing which ones are already unlocked. This is where your breakthrough becomes undeniable, not because external validation confirms it, but because something fundamental has shifted in how you move through the world. You're no longer reactive. You're responsive. You're no longer surviving. You're creating. You're no longer adapting to environments that diminish you. You're choosing environments that amplify who you really are. The universe shows you this shift through synchronicities that feel too perfectly timed to be coincidental, through conversations that happen at exactly the right moment with exactly the right person, through resources that appear precisely when you need them most, through insights that arrive like lightning bolts, illuminating paths you couldn't see before. But the most profound sign that your breakthrough has arrived isn't external, it's internal. It's the moment you realize you're no longer asking permission to be yourself. You're no longer apologizing for your growth. You're no longer shrinking to make others comfortable with your expansion. You start speaking differently. Your voice carries a weight it didn't have before. Not arrogance, but authority. The authority of someone who has walked through fire and discovered they're made of something stronger than they ever imagined. Your words become precise because you've learned the difference between speaking from wound and speaking from wisdom. Your relationships transform. Some deepen beyond anything you thought possible as people respond to your authenticity with their own. Others naturally dissolve as the frequency mismatch becomes too obvious to ignore. and you're okay with both outcomes. The universe shows you your breakthrough through your relationship with time itself. Where you once felt rushed and behind, you now feel perfectly timed. Where you once felt like you were running out of opportunities, you now recognize that the right opportunities arrive exactly when you're ready to receive them. Where you once felt like you were competing with everyone else's timeline, you now understand that your path is uniquely yours. This shift in temporal awareness changes everything. You stop rushing toward destinations and start savoring the journey. You stop treating setbacks as failures and start recognizing them as redirection. You stop measuring your worth by external milestones and start evaluating your growth by internal transformations. And suddenly, what once felt like chaos reveals itself as choreography. Every seeming detour led you exactly where you needed to go. Every apparent mistake taught you something essential. Every relationship that ended made space for something better. Every loss prepared you for a gain you couldn't have appreciated without first understanding what absence feels like. The universe has been orchestrating your breakthrough all along, not through manipulation or control, but through invitation and opportunity, through presenting you with choices that would either keep you stuck or set you free, and trusting you to choose freedom, even when it felt terrifying. Your breakthrough isn't something you achieve. It's something you allow, something you surrender into, something you recognize was always available, waiting patiently for you to stop running from it, and instead run toward it with everything you have. So here you are, recognizing the signs that have been there all along, the restlessness that wouldn't let you settle, the relationships that shifted without explanation, the dreams that suddenly felt too small for who you're becoming. All of it was the universe showing you that your breakthrough wasn't coming. It was already here, waiting for you to stop looking for it everywhere else and recognize it in the mirror. If something in this video resonated with you, if you felt that electric recognition of your own experience reflected back, then you already know what your next step is. Not because I'm telling you, but because something deeper than logic is nudging you forward. That nudge isn't your imagination. That's your breakthrough calling. The chaos you've been experiencing isn't evidence that you're on the wrong path. It's confirmation that you're finally on the right one. The discomfort you've been feeling isn't punishment. It's preparation. The uncertainty you've been navigating isn't confusion. It's clarity disguised as questions you're finally ready to answer. Your breakthrough doesn't need your permission anymore. It doesn't need perfect timing or ideal circumstances or complete understanding. It just needs your willingness to trust what you already know is true, that you're not the same person you were 6 months ago, that what used to work for you no longer fits, that something magnificent is trying to emerge through you. And the only thing standing between you and that magnificence is your willingness to let it happen. The universe has been showing you this moment for longer than you realize. Now it's time to show the universe what you're made of.